Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope everybody's doing good. I hope you had a good 4th of July. Everybody stayed safe and had fun and had family time together. I've decided to start one of my projects that I love to do, and I thought you guys might want to come along with me, and I was going to show you how I turn this into one of these. It's a little bit of work. It takes some time to do them, but they're worth it in the end once you get them all done. Now, I've already got several strips tore, but I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple of these as to how I do them. That way you know what I'm doing. You're not just sitting there wondering. But you take your sheet, you take all your seams out of it, you loosen it all up, take them all out. That way you've got a little extra length on each sheet. Now these are just old bed sheets that I've picked up at yard sales, thrift stores. They don't cost hardly anything. You can sometimes get a full set of sheets, as I'm sure some of you well know, for $5 at a thrift store. And you just take and you cut strips, I don't know, about a ½ inch wide, maybe at the most. Not any less, because if you do, then your strips are little bitty and it takes so many to do your rug. But that's about the width of mine. I'm not very good at measuring. I'm going to say that's a ½ inch. And then you just rip them into strips. Now rip them the long way of your sheet so you have longer strips to work with. And you'll just peel all those off. And you get that one done. That's the last one I cut, so I could show you how I did that part. And then you just lay that particular color sheet, whatever it is, off to the side until you get ready to use it again. And then you'll just pull all your ravelings loose off of your strips that you just tore. It's time consuming and it's work, but when you have a rug out of it that will last for years, it's worth it. Except for one rug that I have here. It's a runner rug that I have in front of the front door that's got a rubber back on it, kind of better for wiping your feet on. It doesn't go, if you've got wet feet, it doesn't go all the way through to the floor. It kind of stops it. But all my other throw rugs I have, they're all rugs that I've made. I love making them. It's kind of an art, really, because you never know. I mean, you can get all different, you can get any kind of sheet, you can pick out whatever color you want, you can literally custom make it for yourself. And they're unique. Nobody else has the same kind of rug. Now some people do the round rugs. I'm not any good at doing the round rugs, so I do the oval rugs. And someday I'll learn how to do the round ones, but I'm not too overly concerned with it, simply because I like the oval rugs better. But I know some people figure that the round ones are nicer. But I can make these, and I have plenty of rugs for myself at home, and then I sell them too. But it's just kind of satisfying and rewarding to know that you've made something that you can use and it didn't cost you an arm and a leg. Now, you take your strips and take your crochet hook. This is a 10 millimeter. You can use a smaller one if you want to, but I prefer to use this size because I can hold it better. Then you just take your strip and you just put it over there like that. and then I take my little pinky and wrap it through there, so then I have it like this on my hand, and I get a hold of that end. It doesn't have to be a real long end. And then you take your crochet hook like that on your, and then come back through and loop under and over and pull it back through. Now you kind of want to hold on to that first loop or it'll just come out on you. And then you go right back under and over and pull it back through each loop. So you have the loop here, go under and back over and then pull it back under and through your loop. And you'll do that till you get to the end of your strip. And you don't want to pull it too tight and you don't want it too loose. It's kind of a, you figure it out, you learn the feel for it. I'm sure a lot of you that are watching probably already know how to do this stuff, but there might be somebody out there that don't know how. And I thought, well, I would teach you my way of doing it. Now, I'm sure there's other ways, probably better ways of doing it, but this is how I do it. Now, I've already got 2 strips together, but I'll show you in just a second how to tie your strips together so you don't have to, they're never ending that way. Now you can do your center set however long you want it, but the longer that center strip is, the bigger your rug's going to be, because you have to continually go around and around and around that, and then which in turn causes you to use more strips. So if you're on a limited amount of material, sheet, or whatever color that you have that you're wanting to do, you just kind of got to gauge and see just how big you want to make your rug, or how big you can make your rug. And like I said, that center, that first center part, that's the part that will determine the size of your rug. So if you don't have much material, don't do a real long center piece. And you just keep going with your chain until you get to that desired length. If I can get that one to come through there, I'll move forward on this one. And I think, because I don't have much material, that's about as long as I'm going to do this center one. It's probably 2 feet long, 18 to 2 feet long. So once you get to the end, to the length that you want, then you still come here like this, but you'll come with your crochet hook. Now see, your last loop is through your last one right here. So you'll want to come back to the one just below it and go through your little hole, come back under and catch that strand just like you did when you started, bring it back through, and you'll have 2 loops. And then you take your hook and you go under and over and pull it back through both loops. So then you have, you're started around your curve. And then you go right back into just your chain like you were before, except you have 2 loops instead of 1. And you just keep going until you get the width of your center that you want. And that's all your preference, whatever you want to do. I think on this one, I ended up doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds. So there's 5, I went around 5 times on this one. Well, actually 6 times, because this center one is 1 on each side. So 6 times I went around, and that gave me that width of that center piece. And then everything after that, I do 3 rounds of each color. And I mean, you could do more if you wanted to, depending on what your preference is on your, how wide you want each strip. But I've just found that 3 is a pretty easy one to do, and you don't run out of your material too fast. Because the wider the strips and the longer the center is going to make it bigger, and you're going to use more material. Now on this one, like I said, I've already tied another strip onto the end of the very one first one I began with. But once I get down to where I have to tie another strip on, I'll show you how to do that, and that's easy too. It's not hard. So I think some people think that crocheting is just this terrible hard thing to do. Now, I'm not very good. I can just pretty much do just the basic chain. I can't do any flowers or anything like that with yarn. I should have learned how to do it when Mama was trying to teach me when I was a kid, but my interest was not learning. My interest was not in learning how to crochet, and I've kicked myself in the butt for it, because I've found that after I've gotten older and where I can, why, I enjoy it. I find it relaxing, and it's just like the artist with the empty canvas. You start out with nothing, and you come up with something beautiful. And they're very economical. They don't cost that much to get those old sheets. Okay, I've come to the end of that second strip, so I'll show you what I do on there to connect them. You'll just take another one of your strips. Now you'll want to unravel everything. I don't know if I told you to do that or not, to take all the ravelings off, because if you don't, they'll get wrapped around and you just have a terrible mess and they get tangled up. But you take the strip that you're crocheting and the end of the new one, and you put them together just like that. And then I fold it over. It doesn't have to be a wide fold, just a little narrow fold works good. And then I've just got a pair of these little nippers. Now you don't have to have these nippers. You can get it just regular scissors, which I need to get some new nippers because these are getting really dull and I don't have a sharpener for them. But you just cut a little slit in the two pieces that you folded over. You just cut a little slit in them. And then you'll have a hole. This hole's not very big, but you can see the hole right there. And you feed it through the end of the one that's on your chain you've started. Feed it through and pull it. Don't know if you can see, but you pull it through. And then you take the end of your other one and you feed it back through itself. Just like into that. About got to tangle that mess here. And you want to keep it as untwisted as you can. And then you'll pull it down to where it's like that on itself, and then you just pull it together just like that. And I like to kind of smooth mine down so this little fold folds back down over the other end. And then you pick back up and you start over again. Usually I don't ever do but about 2 strips together, and don't hardly want to do any more than 3 strips. Anything past 3 strips of material together, you end up with them just tangling up on each other, and then you spend a lot of your time trying to straighten that mess out. But I'm going to go ahead and finish out what I want to make the size of my center, and then I'll be right back and show you how that went. Okay guys, I've got the second round done on this one, so you can see it'll gain some width pretty quick. But I wanted to show you when you get to the end of, as you get wider on your center, and then as you go out and get wider on your rug, you'll have to pick up some stitches or your rug will draw up and be a bowl essentially. So now that I've got to the end of this, I did my 2 final ones, and then I'll take 1 extra stitch That way, each one, if you'll notice, this side is going to be 1 stitch longer than the other one. Now, I've got this little tail, so I'm going to take this and go around this here and come back into this right here. Now, I'll take around and through just like that, and then I'll take my little tail and I'll catch it up in that strand and bring it back through just like you did on the other two when you bring it back through the 2 loops. And then you'll pick it up again just like you was, and you'll start right back down the line again. And you'll be able to tell if you're puckering or not. See, you want it to be, see how that's rounded instead of, if I hadn't have taken that extra stitch, it would have been like that, and you don't want that. You want it to be rounded and out away from there. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay guys, I'm working on fixing to start my 4th round, but I wanted to show you there again, we're at the end. Then you'll reach over here, hook that one, bring it back through, one more time, bring it back through, and then, like, see when you're fixing to start back down your other side, you probably, unless it's just not too tight, you can feel it, you can put it together like, I'm gonna try it like that. So we're gonna try it and see if I can get by with doing it without taking an extra stitch on the way across. And I think I can on this one without it puckering. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be okay, see? But as you go along, when you come up to the end, the extra stitch, go across, and then take another extra stitch as it gets wider so you're not puckering from the other side, and your pieces stay even with each other. But that's it for this week on the rug. I'll try to be back next, probably, this is Tuesday, I'll probably put this one out Wednesday, which is tomorrow, so I'm going to try to be working on the rug every Wednesday with you guys until we get it done. So I will talk to you later, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and please like, subscribe, and share, and God bless, and keep the faith.